is the mood of the city, New Orleans, right now, 4 days since the attack?
Well, people are in mourning for the deaths of those folks that have lost their lives. Many of them were young people early in their life. There's a great deal of pain, great deal of sympathy, a great deal of condolences. And those are the feelings of the city. But there's also in New Orleans strength and resilience. The great city has overcome floods, hurricanes, mosquitoes, fires, any type of crisis you can name. New Orleans has overcome it. So the people of the city, the people of the region are strong and understand it is important to show to those that would visit the city and those that would work in the downtown area the confidence that the area is going to be safe in the future.
Absolutely, yeah. There was a vigil last night, and you really saw New Orleans come together in true New Orleans fashion. Hey, President Biden expected to visit the city tomorrow, right? What kind of message will his trip bring? You know, obviously, it's important that he's going to be there physically, but what kind of message? And then also, what are you hoping the president does during this visit?
So, Xavier, it's a time-honored tradition for the commander-in-chief, the chief executive, the president of the United States, to help Americans sort out and heal. And to send the message I want him to send is a message that this is not something we should play politics with. This is something where we should unite and recognize that the threat to not only New Orleans, but the entire nation from these ISIS-inspired acts of violence is something that every city, every county, every municipality, town, and village has to be vigilant with respect to and prepared for. So I think the role of the federal government is to understand that this issue is beyond a local issue, because the challenges with ISIS and the threat to the United States emanates from our standing in the world, emanates in a fashion that goes across state lines, indeed national lines. And so the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, the DEA, the ATF have to be hands-on and engaged to ensure safety with local law enforcement.
Yeah, speaking of safety, this is much bigger than a New Orleans problem. But in the aftermath of this specific attack, you know, you just heard it in Alina's report, much of the focus has been on the bollard barrier system that was not yet in place on New Year's, but scheduled to be in place, up, running and ready in time for the Super Bowl in a few weeks here in February. Though a new report says the barriers can only withstand up to 10 miles per hour of impact from a vehicle similar to the one used in the attack. Your thoughts? I mean, I read that at first, and I'll be honest, I said 10 miles per hour. Who is that going to stop? That's not going to stop anyone. What are your thoughts?
You'd do better putting a dump truck or a pickup truck, something else there to block traffic, to block someone who would use a vehicle as a weapon. But here's the important thing. I would go back and reevaluate the entire safety and security system around the entirety of downtown New Orleans. It's not just Bourbon Street. It's the French Quarter. It's the areas close by like Treme. It's the downtown areas where the Morial Convention Center is located. All of those areas need to be evaluated because millions of people, New Orleans is a city of festivities, a city of music, a city of culture. People enjoy being on the streets. So the entire security system and that review should be done quickly, led by the city, but with the cooperation of both the state and the federal government, understanding, look, when 9/11 occurred in New York City, the nation came together. The same thing should happen for the beloved city of New Orleans.
And I have one more question for you. You know, with a lot of talk here being made a safety right in the French Quarter, you just mentioned it, we just talked about it. Overall, do you feel New Orleans is a safe city?
I think New Orleans is as safe as any other city. I think it is important to understand that the diabolical, devious nature of either a lone wolf or a citizen who might be inspired by the hatred of ISIS, it is impossible to create a foolproof system, but you've got to strengthen, you've got to recognize, you've got to understand that this is an awful incident, but the importance for leaders is whether they learn lessons and take appropriate steps quickly.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.